What made you a lot of money, even though it seemed silly at first? So in about 2003-2004, Coca-Cola did a promotion where you could get actual cash from 20 Oz bottles and probably some other sizes too. Usually it was 25C, but sometimes $1. Enter the code, it goes into your online account. After you made so much, they gave you a Visa debit card. Well, at the time I worked in a call center staffed mostly by middle-aged women. Word got out that that nice young man who fixed our computers collected bottle caps, and every week I was handed dozens of the things. At the time we were just starting a family and broke, that extra cash really helped us out. I had a paper route as a 12-year-old kid back in 80s. Easy route, 80-some papers. I took a piece of paper, made an ad said wash your widows, mow your lawns, rake your leaves, shovel your snow, that type of thing. I took it to the library and made a few hundred copies. Stuffed at the paper every Wednesday like clockwork. Phone would ring off the hook at 7 p.m. So I did that paper route all the way through high school and did all them jobs too. I kept doing that all the way up till I was 47 years old 2 years ago. I did that 23 years. Had a very successful landscaping business. And that's how I made all my money. Microsoft ran a program trying to educate employees of Best Buy to better understand and sell their products. You would watch videos about their offerings, answer a quiz at the end, and get points to use at their online store. You could get Xbox games, accessories, software, etc. We quickly found out there was no communication between BB and MSFT had no way of telling who was and wasn't an actual employee. So we grabbed store numbers online and used fake names and did surveys all day, running multiple at a time, and got tons of Microsoft product. We would then return the unopened items to Walmart, who gave store credit and bought whatever we wanted. I got a big screen TV for my dorm, an Xbox 360, and paid for groceries for a year before the program was shut down. Took like an hour to get 120 worth of Walmart gift cards. Not recent, but in high school out drink machine was notorious for breaking down, so I decided to sell drinks out of my locker. Made a couple hundred by doing that over the year. In high school my mom was dating a guy that had a largely commercial glass business. Things were slow, so he went through his shop to find something to spin up some side work and found a fuck ton of candle molds that he had gotten from somewhere probably decades prior, by the dust for some long forgotten job. We cleaned them up, bought some wax and started testing. We found 7 penis molds and all of the stuff. We poured one, had a laugh and moved on. But one of the other guys in the row of shops saw it and asked to buy it. Then word got out and soon we were pouring dicks for everyone. A local adult store heard about them, and soon we had an order for dicks from them. I basically spent a summer as a teen pouring dick candles. Made some decent cash. My company was merging with another 20 years ago. I had a company provided 401k, so pre-merger I directed all 401k investments into my company stock, which was within the 401k. This was not insider trading since the merger was advertised for years. After merger the stock more than doubled in 2 weeks. I cashed in company stock to a money market account, still within the 401k. There were no capital gains since it was all contained within the 401k account. It was like day trading without penalties. So in about 3 weeks my 401k more than doubled. I am now retired, my 401k converted to an IRA, and I am a millionaire. I started working at 15. I started working as a dishwasher. When I was 16, I switched to being a waitress and made pretty good tips. I saved every penny I had. So when I turned 18, I could pay cash for a new car. When I was graduated high school, I had about $22,000 saved up. My brother 20 was working construction and was saving up to be able to start his own business. At the time, he had about the same amount of money saved as me. He was living on his own, so he wasn't able to save as fast. One day, we were talking, and he was telling me about a dump truck, trailer, and skid steer he was wanting to buy from his boss. His boss wanted $50K for them, and he was going to see about getting a loan for the rest of the money he needed. At the time, I had an old hand-me-down car from my mom that I really liked, so I wasn't in a huge hurry to get a new car, so I offered to invest in his business as a partial silent owner. Over the last 2 years, we dumped most of our earnings back into the business, and now it's doing extremely well. Since I'm a silent partner, I don't really do anything now, but cash my checks. I honestly figured I would get my money back eventually, but never expected I would benefit so much from it. Job hopping. I'm making close to double what I was making 5 years ago. To be fair, I was working for a non-profit back then and was able to make ends meet by other means. But that's not sustainable. And by job hopping every opportunity I've been given, I've been able to make a life for myself in IT. Without doxing myself too hard, I made 20-40k month in revenue running the one Minecraft server for a few years. Approx 10-35k expenses each month. It was silly because I was 11 years old and wanted a server, so I could grieve people. Then I realized people who were joining were cool. My business partner was also 11 years old. We had no clue what the hell we were doing. I don't know how any of it worked so well. Hope that tax fraud never catches up to me. I invested in a tiny medical marijuana company in 2011. I think I bought shares at .333 or something, and I had like 300 ton shares. After a couple years it hit at 0.55 cents and I got out at 0.50. My quarantine project to not go nuts in lockdown was to teach myself to do Linocut prints and illustrations. Started posting them on IG when I had the time and desire to. From the money it made for me, I since bought a new camera, new lenses, new phone, new laptop, million art supplies. I have enough savings to buy a property at the end of the year. I illustrated a damn book that's coming out later this year with an amazing publisher. Had an exclusive stationery collection in one of the most amazing botanical gardens in the world, all from this little hobby I do in my spare time. Feels nuts to me. Floristry. People are always wanting flowers for special occasions. Bitcoin. Someone gave me 200 worth of this crazy new Bitcoin thing to say thank you when I helped them move. Making art out of old license plates. I'm 51 and retired last year. Cuddling and spending time with lonely people. I've gotten enough from it to fully support two people's lives without having to even work that many hours. I'm also amazing at it. I was depressed and felt like my lift was going nowhere. YOL eat whole bank account into Dogecoin when it was less than a penny. Made about 50k, but would have been 350k if I waited a little longer. GameStop. Curb painting. In high school and college I'd drag around a cart with paint and stencils. Touch up curb numbers. 20 bucks here and there. More for stuff like a team's color or a flag. I'd sell it to people as it makes it easier for emergency services to find them in a hurry. Cost almost nothing to get into, and I'd make a couple $100 on my days when I didn't have class. Was a pretty decent gig. Mid to late 2000s. Fixing and modding Xbox 360s. I was seemingly the only person within 100 miles that could fix them and knew how to mod them to play burned games. I would fix them for 40, mod them to play burned games for 30 with 10 updates if needed, and would sell burned copies of games for 8 each. For Call of Duty, I also ran lobbies where people could join and max out their ranks. I did that for World at War and Modern Warfare 2. The World at War 1 just required a special burned copy of the game, but the MW2 one required a mod to the box called a JTAG mod, which involved soldering and a bunch of other stuff to replace the key that Microsoft would see for the console. They would get banned pretty quick, so I would squeeze as many people in that hour or so I had before ban. Usually I would make 400-600 in that hour, and I would buy lots of broken Xboxes on eBay to pull the keys off of to put onto the modded Xbox, so I could do a new lobby. I would also sell the JTAG Xbox 360s for like 200 each. I also did controller modding, like adding a button to make semi-auto thing fully auto on controllers or changing the colors of the player indicator lights on the controllers. In the 3 years I was active doing it, I made about $20,000 per year. Not a ton by adult standards, but at 18 I made $4,000 dumping my entire checking account into a penny stock that multiple blogs were pushing that ended up being a pump and dump. I just pulled out right before it crashed. Used that money to buy my first car and have learned that that's not a smart investment strategy.